This is a quick introduction to our big look at learning styles. If you turn to page 18 of the Success For You guide, this is the start of the content we're going through, and we're going to be bringing in lots of different resources through the course material this week. There are many different theories about how people learn, and everyone has a mixture of strengths and preferences in the way they learn. And this is what learning styles are. It's helpful to look at the differences in the way people learn so that you can understand why people react as they do. There are no right or wrong characteristics. There's no better or worse ways of learning. People are just different. This is to be embraced, and it adds variety and richness in the classroom. By you understanding your own learning style, you'll be able to choose ways of studying that cater to your preferred learning styles, your naturally preferred learning styles. And you can also take the other tack and work to actively build up a learning style that is not your natural preference, but that perhaps, due to the type of training you're undertaking, might be heavily used in that training situation. Firstly, we can look at your preferences for learning by using your senses. We have auditory learners, visual learners, and tactile or kinesthetic learners. Those two different terms are interchangeable. Auditory learners, they say, make up to 30% of the population in our Western societies. If you're an auditory learner, information comes in best through your ears, so this particular presentation where you're listening will appeal to you. From speeches, presentations, or audiobooks. You might have a knack for foreign languages and benefit from studying in groups. Visual learners are a much larger group. They make up to 65% of the population. Many students that I know say that they are a visual learner. They tend to be neat and tidy, perhaps not. Can be very good spellers, but not necessarily. They are often quick to read charts, data that's presented visually. Visual learners also tend to be the fastest talkers. Kinesthetic learners, so tactile learners also, make up just 5% of the population. Kinesthetic and tactile learning is very much learning by hands-on, learning by doing. They're primarily male, evidently, and love anything hands-on. I would question the primarily male. Perhaps our society is geared towards learning by doing with boys. That'd be interesting to look into with further. I'm sure there's been lots of research and studies. Tactile and kinesthetic learners are often skilled athletes or musicians and are drawn to construction projects, science experiments, and field trips, excursions. So they enjoy practical workplace type of training situations. They want to cut to the chase, to the nuts and bolts of why we do something and make it as real world as possible. You will have a combination of these preferences. We're also going to look at different learning styles models. This is just one model. We're going to look at different learning styles models as we go further into this topic, and there'll be different terminology introduced, breaking visual down into visual and read-write. So breaking that 65% group up into two groups. And in some of the extra quizzes to identify your learning style that we're going to link you up with, you'll see some different learning styles models that you'll be able to find out more about and find out what you are. So you will have whatever particular model of learning styles theory that you're looking at. It's highly unusual that you would be just one particular type of learner. You'll have a combination of preferences. But what you will see when you do some of the different quizzes is that you have a leaning towards a particular type of learning style often. It can also depend exactly what you're learning and how much background you have in the area as to your preferred learning styles for that particular material. For example, if I'm learning something very new to me that I have no background in whatsoever, I need a more practical, hands-on approach than if I'm learning about education where I have a strong background. Then I can learn very much through reading, which has been developed through my practice over the years and my knowledge of the topic. So I can use that depth of knowledge I already have to mean that I can learn in a much more just reading-based way, or even an auditory way, listening to a lecturer, for example, than if it was a completely new topic to me that I had no background in. Then I have to make it much more practical and more visual. Watching clips, demonstrations, and actually doing things myself. So it depends what particular thing you're studying and how much background you have as well. The one other impact on learning styles is your trainer's teaching style. For example, in this Return to Study program being delivered online, it's highly auditory. We're doing lots of these presentations that are catered to auditory learners. I use PowerPoints, so try and bring in visual side as well. And there's different readings, so appealing to the reading part of the visual. And videos, of course, visual. There's the least catered to learning style in this sort of online program, and many online programs that I've experienced in the past are the hands-on, are the kinesthetic. Kinesthetic learners in particular are much more suited to in training room and in workplace hands-on training. Many visual learners and many auditory learners also identify with preferring to learn through training room experiences where they're practicing, where it's hands-on and where they can talk to other people. Yes, I'd say very reading-based people embrace the online learning styles, learning delivery method. So depending on your trainer's preferred teaching style or the mode of training delivery you've chosen, that will impact the learning styles being catered to. So that's a small part. Sometimes it can be hard to find out that information before you start doing a course, but they're questions that could be taken up with a training organisation. You could find out if you could talk to the particular trainer before you enroll and find out about their delivery methods. Certainly a registered training organisation should be able to explain to you all about their delivery methods before you enroll in a particular course. And it's really worthwhile making sure that you're able to study in the particular training method that an organisation is providing training through. Because, as we know, many different training providers provide the same accredited training, accredited qualifications, and part of your choice when you're finding